It feels a bit dark. Can't we put on the light? Okay, that's better. Okay. So now, the thing with note, I just want to say again, the thing with capital and retained income, those two notes, you must know it like from the back to the fourth, to the front, to the top. Because this is definitely there, and it doesn't count a lot. But it's there. Okay? And the balance sheet face, you also need to know. You need to know where do you get what. You can't just start and think, oh, you know what, they give me part of the thing already, so I'll play and I'll see where to put what. Can't think like that, because accounting is against time now more than ever. Previously it was against time, now it's really running against time. You cannot sit and think. You must react. And the moment you start thinking, you stop and you go on to the next thing, because you want to get marks. It's a strategic thing. It's like a war plan. Okay. Now, when we fill in the balance sheet, the easiest way for me personally to do it, and I'm sorry because I'm going to make smaller and bigger because the paper is small and the answer sheet is big. But you've got the paper in front of you, so I don't really need to make this bigger all the time. But the thing that I like to do personally is I always like to just first write in all the info I got here. And that's what we've done. We've done that. And then we start with the adjustments. Okay, I'm not going to do this net profit ones now. I'm not going to do this once. Remember, I want to do it when I'm fixing the net profit. And then I'll read it into the balance sheet's face. Okay, so we did do the fixed deposit. We haven't done yet this one. The debtor's credit balance must be transferred. And I've said this to you guys 1,000,000 times, and I will say it another 1,000,000. You do not think you are clever enough to just think it. Oh, this is going to be a plus plus. Okay. You go and you draw T's. And you draw a T for debtors, plus minus, and a T for creditors, minus plus. And you read. And they say the debtors has a credit balance, so you go put it in there. That needs to be transferred. So immediately you see. It's on the, oh sorry, let me just take it down. It's there on the credit side. So what am I going to do to take it away? I'm going to plus it. So meaning creditors will also plus. Because it's always a plus plus or a minus minus. It's never a plus minus or minus plus. Never. So now I go and I go put, so in other words, what am I saying to you? If you're not sure about it, put the one thing as a plus and the other one as a minus, then at least one of the two is right. Okay. So let's go look. My trade and other receivables will plus 9,560. And my trade and other payables will plus 9,560, and that's an easy 2 ticks for you. And it's always there. There's always going to be that. The loan we've already done. The ordinary share dividends we've already, share capital we already did. We've done the shareholders, the final, we've done that. Now we are with the inventory. So inventory, and this is the thing you need to remember, there's two things. The first thing is fixed assets. Fixed assets will be in paper 1 and in paper 2. It's a topic for both papers. In paper 1, it's note 3. In paper 2, it's everything. T accounts, fixed asset registers, theory, everything. But it's in both papers. Inventory is also in both papers. In paper 1, it would be an adjustment to calculate your closing stock. Right? In paper 2, it's a detailed topic. Right? So, the same goes with adjustments. Adjustments is the big thing in paper 1. But it will also translate to paper 2, especially when we get to manufacturing, when we do factory overheads, because factory overheads is expenses. So all of the adjustments that's asked in paper 1 can just as easily be transferred to paper 2. So if they didn't do the 10% increase of rent in paper 1, they can do a 10% increase of rent in paper 2 with manufacturing. You guys see how they jump? Okay, now let's look. They say it's FIFO. So I'm going to make it a bit bigger because I'm going to work on here. So FIFO works like this. I work from the last one. Because how does it work? First in, first out. So your old stock sells out first. Your new stock is the ones that's remaining. That's what we assume. Remember, in a business you won't necessarily have that control over it. But the purpose of this is I have now counted my stock, and I see my stock that I counted. Can you see opening balance, closing balance? The stock that I counted is 440, meaning there's 440 units left. And now I need to give a money value to that 440 units because I needed to put it in inventory in the balance sheet. That's why I do stock evaluation or valuation. Okay, so now what do I do? So now with FIFO they say, let's rather value the stock at the newest prices. Okay, because most probably the stock that's not sold is the stock that came in last. So now let's start. I've got 440, I'm going to make it a bit smaller. I've got 440 units. Right. So I start at the bottom. I start with the latest ones. Can you see this is all batches that was bought. So you buy, you go to the newest batch. The latest one says 300. But now if you read here, they say 50 units was returned. So do I have 300? No, I got 250. Right? So 250 units at 4,000, ne? Gives me what? Anybody? On the dot 1 million. Then, now I say, okay, I have to value 440 units. I have valued 250, which means 190 is still left. Is that right? Did I minus right? So 190 must still be valued, but I can't use the 4,000 because I've already outmaxed the valuation of those units. I have to go to the previous ones. And the previous ones was 3,500. And that gives me what?
6,000.
And then I total. And it gives me 1,665,000. And I gave, I think 3 marks, no? Or was it 2, 2, 3? I can't remember. Okay. Can you guys see how it goes? And it's important to write this down here because there were split marks. You never know when there's going to be split marks, so you always write down your calculations. Because maybe you had this one right, but you have this one wrong. Then you can still get the full marks for that one. Okay, are we with me? Yes. Okay, ask. Question is, why did I minus the 50 from the 300? Now if you read there, they say 50 units were returned from the January purchase. So in January I purchased 300 units. But do I have 300 units to sell? No, because I returned 50. So how many is left? 250. You sharp? They're always going to bring in a return like that. Okay. So now I've done my inventory. Okay. Can you now see the things that is left over? Ne? This I can block and top. Please remember to do your block and top and bottomize because that's easy bagels. So this gives me what? 0187659. That's an easy bagel. Okay? Then my inventory is done. I can't do my receivables yet. Can I finish my cash? Yes, because my cash told me I have a balance for what? They didn't say, did they? Cash. 192,300. 192,300. So this gives me 1,192,300. Okay. I can't do the receivables because I need to do my net profit. I can't do my retained income because I need my net profit. I can't do my payables because I need to do the net profit. And I can't do the equities and the SARS because I need the tax. Okay. Are we happy? So now I can decide. So here I already got quite a lot of ticks. So now I can decide, what am I going to do next? Am I good in fixed assets, or must I rather do net profit after tax? So I'm going to do the net profit after tax because I think that's the one you guys struggle the most with. Ne? If it was a test, I would have said do first the fixed assets and then the net profit. Now, the thing that you need to remember is you need to remember your income statement. Why? Because that will tell you how your format works. So I've got sales, less cost of sales gives me gross profit, plus income minus expenses. Ne? Can you see I'm doing like a little summary version? Okay? Gives me net profit before tax, less tax, net profit after tax. So I'm going to include some of my interest there with income and expenses because it will work the same way. Can you see? What I need you to see is that your income works with your profit. If your income increases, your net profit increases. If your income decreases, your net profit decreases. Ne? That makes sense because it's a positive. With the expenses, it works the other way around. If your expense increase, your profit will decrease. If your expense decrease, your profit will increase. No, because the more money I give out, the less profit I have. The less money I give out, the more profit I have. Okay, so now, first of all, they can either give you something that wasn't shown at all. Other times they will give you that the whole amount was shown and the adjustment wasn't taken into account. So we still need to take the adjustment into account. So let's quickly think adjustments. What makes income more? My accrued income. Ne? What makes my expenses more? My accrued expense. What makes them less? My future stuff. So my prepaid expense and my income, my income received in advance and my prepaid expense. And this you can write down for yourself as a little crib note. Okay. So let's go to the questions. So if I go to the questions, I'm somehow going to work on the memo. If I can find it. Yeah. Okay. Do I have an answer sheet? This is all the moderation stuff. Okay. Where is mine? Oh, I love you so much. Okay, here we go. So now I start. I've got the wrong profit. So I say to myself, income plus profit plus. I don't even write it out. Minus profit minus expense plus minus minus plus. I write that for myself. Now I start. The first question says, provision for bad debts must be increased by 7,350. They don't say 2, so I don't have to calculate the amount. They say already this is the adjustment. So the amount is 7,350, the provision for bad debts. Now the question is it a plus or a minus? Now what did I teach you? Remember, usually, let's go through the whole thing. My debtors control times the percentage gives me my new provision for bad debts, right? Then I subtract the old one that I get in the trial balance. Then the answer is my adjustment. If it's a minus, it's an income. If it's a plus, it's an expense. You with me? So now what do they say here? The provision has to be increased. So it needs to increase. So it's an expense. If my expense, what did I write down? If my expense becomes more, my profit becomes less. So you can either bracket or you can put a minus. Sharp. You guys need to stop me if I go too fast, but don't tell me to go slower. I will rather repeat. Now they say 12,000 of the insurance. Now what is insurance? An income or an expense, Mfundo? Her income, ooh, I forgot. So now, let's ask ourselves the question first. What is insurance? Is it an income or is it an expense? It's an expense. So now what happens? They say there was paid for the period, can you see 30 June? Ne? It's after my month end. It's after February. So what is it? Is it a prepaid or a accrued? It's a prepaid. And a prepaid makes less. Meaning it's going to make my profit more. So I keep it on. And just to remember, I'm still going to write a plus there. Okay? You guys with me? Yes. So now they say, insurance for the period January to June. Can you see? January, February, March, April, May, June. 6 months. So this is not a 12 month. It's a 6 months. That's a catch. So I take the 12,000. Nay, I say UK. I have 6 months. How many months is after February? So January and February is inside the year. The rest is all outside of the year. So what is 6 minus 2? It's 4. Or you can count March, April, May, June. 4 months. So 4 months out of the 6 months is prepaid. And this is how I get, I think it's 8,000. Yes. And you guys can see they gave 2 ticks for it. Let me tell you, in the original paper they gave 1 tick for it. Why? Because they see this adjustment as a low order because we've been doing it since grade 10. Not 8. Okay, so let's go on. Rent. This rent. So as a rule, they never have cents. Yeah. But this one had cents. So what happens when something happens that you're not used to? It throws you. And when it throws you, you freeze. And then you go, oh, it's like I'm preaching here. So you freeze. And what do you do when you freeze? You waste time. Okay, so what do you do when you get to a point where you start feeling like this thing makes me freeze? You say to yourself, self, don't freeze, move. And you go on to the next one. Okay, so what are you going to say? Self, don't Don't freeze. Move on. Okay, so let's do this. Exactly. And you can even put in a little move. Okay, so let's do this. So now this one, it's rent that we received. Please listen in the back. This is rent that I'm receiving. Is it an income or an expense? It's an income. So I'm working with this. So if it's going to be accrued, it's going to plus. If it's in advance, it's going to minus. Okay, babies? So because we know it's an income, we know it's going to work with the profit. If it's an expense, it works against the profit. Okay? Which makes sense. So now let's go look at the rent. So the first thing I want to do is I want to draw my financial year. So my financial year ends 28 Feb 26. So it means it started 1st March 25. Now they tell me rent has been received from the 1st of March. Okay? Ne? And then they say to 30 April. Meaning I also received March and April. So in total I received 14 months. Everybody's with me. Now they say, due to additional storage, the rent was increased with 500 Rand per month for 3 months, starting April. So it's April, May, and June. Did we receive May and June? No. But can you see where the catch comes in now? The catch is that everything here, is X. It's the normal price. It's only April, that is a 500 Rand increase. And this is where you went wrong. So when I take my rent income, the 105, 100, I only subtract 500, not 1,005. That's where most of you went wrong. Because if you subtracted the 1,005, then you get no commas. You see? But it's not, I didn't receive it. Only April. So I subtract April. Now I have left 104, what? 600. And that is for 14 months as if there were no increase. Okay? And that gives me what? 747143. And you can round off. You can keep it 71. It's fine. Now, that's the first month. So that's March. What is April going to be? Plus 500. You see? Can you see what is the biggest thing that's difficult in a test? It's not necessarily the calculations, because when you hear it now, you're like, I can do this. What is the difficult thing? The difficult thing is that this doesn't throw you in a place where you can't function afterwards. Okay, it's a mind game. So, this is what happened. So those two plus gives me 15, and we marked 15442. We marked 15442.86. We marked 15443. Okay. Now, can you see it's a minus? Why is it a minus? Because it's an income received in advance. And what does an income received in advance do? It makes my income less. And that's why I minused the 15442. Right. And by the way, it counted 1, 2, 3, 4 marks. Not worth freezing. Because you could have gotten 4 marks just by adding all the boxes in the balance sheet. Okay, which a lot of you didn't do because you didn't have time, because you sat on this thing forever. Okay, next one. Next one is the director's fees. So the director's fees, what is it? Income or expense? Expense. So it's going to work against the profit. Can you see it makes sense if you talk about it works with the profit or it works against the profit? So now, when the company has directors, how many directors does this company have? Two. One, two. Ne? Two directors. So they had two directors at the beginning of the year. Both were not paid their fees in February. So both of them only got 11 months. You see. A third one was appointed at a fee 10% lower than the existing. Can you see that? 11 months was at 100%. They got 100%. Can you see it's a little bit of a tweak on what you're used to with the rent income. But now this third director, how many months does he get? Are you sure? Yes, he was appointed October. So it's October, November, December, January, February. No, 5 months. So that gives me 5 months, but he doesn't get 100%. He gets 10% less. So he gets 90, which gives me 450. So I total this, and this is my K, my known. Right? What is my unknown? Oh, the 2 months that they didn't get. Right. So I take my director's fee, I times it with what I don't know, but I want it, over what I do know. UK. Okay? A lot of you put at the top here 2,200, you use that. We don't need that. We need the accrued expenses. Okay. And what does accrued expense do to expenses? Accrued plus future minus. So if accrued plus, ne, what's going to happen to my profit? Minus. Does that make sense? Because it works opposite. If my expense is more, ne, it means this is less. What is it? 84,000. 85,000. Okay, now, the tax. May I please say that my heart was bleeding, because if you read here, they say, now just look and see how you can get marks next time. They say here, a further 55,000 is owed for income tax. So it means in my balance sheet, it's a liability. We still owe such 55. If I think about my T account for SARS, what was it again? Balance, bank. And that is just paying that balance. Bank, income tax. Balance CO, balance BD. Now look at this. Can you see this thing that they give me here, the SARS income tax? Can you see they say that's debit? Okay? So if it's debit, what does it mean? It's those two banks. It's my provisional, that 235. It's my provisional. Can we switch off the light? I think it's getting now too light. We're going to switch on and off as the day goes. Okay, so can you guys see that there, they don't have to tell you that it's provisional. You have to know that the procedure for SARS is that during the year you pay them 2 times, minimum, 2 or 3 times. So there's always going to be a debit balance for SARS in your trial balance. Why? Because you paid SARS already twice this year, even though you don't know your tax yet. Okay, now they don't tell me my tax, but what do they tell me? They tell me this 235 shorts 55, because we still owe 55. Can you see if they have said, oh, SARS owes us 55, it means we overpaid. Then we would have subtracted it and it would have been an asset. So now I go here and I say my tax, they tell me I already paid 235 and I still owe 55, so it means I owe 290. You see? Please don't ever have this wrong again, because they tell it to you as straight as they will. You can't get it more straight than that. They are absolutely testing that you know your T account. Now, you had a total there, and now you get a total here. I am not going to calculate this now because our time is running out. Please listen, don't waste my time. So that X there, that net profit after tax is going to my retained income. It's going here. And it was actually, I do know the amount. I don't know the amount. It's what? 7 something. So now I have that amount. I'm not going to write it in. But can you see again, there's a bagel. So that one minus minus equals this one. Okay? So now I have my retained income, because the balance of the heading, you see, retained income. Now I can go to my face. I don't know where's my face. Oh, here. So now I can go put this in my face. I can total. You see? And now what happens? I can transfer. So I take these things that I've just done. I know that provision for bad debts. Ne? I now, oh, let me make it smaller. Sorry about that. This bad debts, not bad debts, provision for bad debts must still be subtracted from my receivables. Remember they said that 424, and this is something that made you confused as well. They said there that it's the net trade debtors. What is net trade debtors? It's trade debtors less provision for bad debts. So they already subtracted the old one. So I need to subtract the extra part as well. Okay? The insurance was a prepaid. So this goes into receivables. The rent was an income in advance, which will go to the payables. And the director's fee was a accrued expense, which will go to the payables. You see? And now I can total, and I can total, I can total, I can total, I can total, I can total. And all of this, can you just see this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 marks is principal marks, because you totaled. Ne? Can you see why it's the most important one to start with? So when you get your test on Wednesday, you're going to look. Listen, Wednesday's test is about question 1. So if you go to all the old papers that I gave you, you have November 24, 23, 22, 21 and 20. Paper 1. It's question 1. Go look at question 1. Work out question 1. But what you will see is those question ones usually count like 50, 55. I'll be with you now, Mama. 50, 55. It's never 100. And Wednesday's test is 100. So what does it mean? It means that they can test more stuff. Okay? So they, instead of giving me all of this, let me rather switch it off that we don't listen to the screams.